can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. Today, we're doing back-to-back duty again. I'm waiting for Scott to join us. He hit me up and told me, he has a little time, about 20, 30 minutes or whatever, so he'll be joining us briefly, okay? So I wanted to get the intro out of the way so that when he comes on the platform, that we can go straight into talking or whatever like that. So I want to thank each and every one of you who are joining me live and all of you who will look, watch, and download later. Thank you so much for joining me on the most powerful platform for truth on God's green earth. Remember that this little channel is your favorite channel's favorite channel, okay? So again, for those of you who have been with us, we just got done doing the show with Dimitri Lascaris about 25 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. So we're going to wait for Scott to join us. And as soon as hold on one second. Somebody says something here in the chat. Hold on one second. Hold on, check your video. Not there. I got proposals. Oh, okay. I'm looking at. Shout out to Pedro in the building from across the pond. Salute, Pedro. JWC. Shout out. Hold on one second. This thing is jumping. Shout out to Lee Argent in the building. So Scott, he told me that he'll be here, so we're gonna wait for him to come here. Like I said, I wanted to get all the formalities out the way with the intro or whatever, so that we can go straight into it, because we're gonna have a limited time, a limited window with him. Okay, so I'm moving my camera a little bit, but we're gonna talk about the situation in West Asia, or what they term as the Middle East. And while we wait for him, we're going to talk about news. So give me a chance to get to the news today. So again, let me go to something. Something caught my eye. Where is it at? I want you to pay attention to something in here, because it's very important. Where's that military thing? I wanted to share something with you guys, because a lot of people overlooked it, and I highlighted it. Okay, listen, look what's going on. It says Indian advises its citizens to leave Iran. Now, what's crazy about this is so did Chinese and Russian people. The nations advised their people to leave the area also. So I want to ask Scott, does he think that these are signs of a prelude to war? We know, again, as we talked on the last show, about America setting up a air base in Qatar. And matter of fact, the name of the article where you can go look this up is U.S. opens military facility in Qatar amid Iran tensions. It says President Donald Trump earlier signaled support for protests in the Islamic Republic and threatened new strikes. The U.S. has opened a new air and military defense, a missile defense coordination cell at a key airbase in Qatar amid rising tensions with Iran and President Donald Trump's promises to assist protesters in the Islamic Republic. Now, what's crazy, and we've addressed this, Scott will be with us shortly. He just hit me up. I can show it to you. He just hit me up. But what's crazy about this is there are protests going all over Europe against the leadership in Europe. All over Europe. All in France, they want Macron gone. All in the UK, they want Starmer gone. All in Germany, they want the leadership there gone. And we look at across America, there's protests on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, I saw something which stunned me. And I forgot to even bring this up to you guys. I was on my way to my baby sister's house about 3 days ago. I believe it was 3 days ago. I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, with me. We were on the way over there. And as we passed the college, the university over there, we saw a whole, and listen, these were white people who were conservative. So I want to give them their credit now with this. They were over there and they were all picketing and they had signs. And I started to go over there and do an interview, but I had something that I had to do for family, right? But it was tugging on me. I wanted to go over there and interview them on the spot. They had protest signs and everything saying that this is not a dictatorship, no war to Iran and all of this stuff. And they were really mad. They said they had signs saying, Trump, you disappointed us, you bamboozled us, and all this stuff. They were out there and they were on both sides. They were right at the corner of the college and on the other side of the street where the mall is. They were, everywhere over there. And I didn't get a chance to take the pictures because I'm driving in traffic. And then if I would have U-turned, I would have been late for doing something for a family member. And I try to keep my word. But this is what's going on across America. And nobody is talking about military intervention. What if Russia said that Russia is going to, what if Russia and China both said, well, we see that you're killing people. The ICE authorities are killing people and rounding up citizens, and this is against international law. And we must do something. We're going to come to the aid of those people. The United States would say that's a declaration of war. That's against our sovereignty. We will not allow that. But when it comes to Iran, in the protests that were peaceful protests and then instigated to be violent by the West for ulterior motives, they are trying to use that as a justification for war. I told you the empire will stop at nothing to justify its madness. Period. It won't stop. If you go to my Patreon, I told you guys that this was going to happen in the article about Iran, and I told you why they had the protests got violent. I told you that, and I said they were trying to weaken Iran from the inside to have them preoccupied with inside problems to weaken the IRGC, the besieged and the Kurd forces, and to have the nation destabilized so that America, the UK, and Israel can try to do a decapitation strike or a massive bombardment on Iran to catch them flat-footed. But when Iran, with the help of China and Russia, put down the Starlinks, put down the protests, then the U.S. Scott, he's in the building right now. Scott is in the building right now. I got to bring my guy in. I haven't talked to Scott in a minute. How's it going, my friend?
It's all right. You know, when you try to coordinate with a dinosaur or a Neanderthal, you sent me a link, and I've been copying that link and pasting it in my browser and clicking it, and it just comes back nothing. But then I looked at it really closely, and at the end of the link, there was a period. And I went, maybe that period shouldn't be there. So I copied it, and here I am. So I apologize for being late. It just takes me a little bit of time to navigate technology.
Me too, Scott. So I understand. I do not understand a lot of this technical jargon. But Scott, let's jump right into this, man, because everybody wants to hear your opinion on this. Are we going to war in West Asia against Iran?
I certainly hope not. But there's indications that suggest yes, and there's indications that suggest maybe not. First of all, it makes no sense at this point in time. If we were going to go to war, and I wouldn't support it even if these conditions existed, I think the purpose of a U.S. military strike is to empower the anti-regime protesters that are doing their thing in Iran. When I say anti-regime protesters, I guess another way to say it is Mossad-funded and organized, trained, and equipped protesters. They're not reflecting the genuine will of the people. These are outside agents, engaging in treasonous behavior. But the purpose of military action would be to strike security forces, communications, leadership targets, to paralyze or, otherwise incapacitate Iran's the ability of the Iranian government to coordinate a response to this uprising, to empower this uprising to become a revolution and to overthrow the regime. So they would have to be in sync. the revolution's over. The Iranian government won. They've destroyed them. They've crushed them. They've eliminated them. They're executing them. And it's too late. So, and the other thing is, if you're going to strike Iran, there's that old saying: if you're going to strike the king, kill the king. And so, if you're going to strike Iran, you had better finish by eliminating the regime, or else the empire strikes back. And Iran has a tremendous amount of ability to counterpunch. Their counterpunch is going to be stronger than our punch. Right now, the fact that you and I are talking about the potential of a strike in Iran means that the Iranian government has undoubtedly taken preparations. So the concept that the Ayatollah Khamenei is going to be sleeping in his bed, waiting for an American cruise missile to kill him, is ludicrous. The Iranian government will be dispersed to secure locations outside of Tehran. There will be resilience built in, redundancy, and moreover, the Iranian defenses will be waiting, and Iran's counterpunch will be waiting. But that's why I see reports about the United States evacuating hundreds of troops from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. That indicates that maybe we are going to strike. But then I see reports that Israel and Saudi Arabia are asking Trump not to strike because they've woken up to the fact that it's not going to accomplish anything other than Iran knocking the socks off of Israel. So I think what I hope we're seeing right now is that Trump is positioning forces to be capable of launching a strike while he reconsiders his options. And I'm hoping that enough people with common sense whisper in his ear that this isn't going to end well for us. This is going to be very, very bad. You have a midterm coming up. You don't want 10,000 body bags coming home. You don't want to get involved with a war in Iran that will not end quickly and will take us months, if not years, to resolve. And that's the end of your presidency. Now, this is a narcissist. This is a man whose brain is addled by his own egotism, and he may not listen to reason. But if I had to put money on this, my money is that we will not bomb Iran. Now, I've lost money at the gambling table several times, so it's not like this is a sure bet. And maybe I'm relying too much on common sense and logic. This administration doesn't operate in the realm of common sense or logic. It's an administration that operates off of the morality of the president alone. So that's where I am. This is a tough one. This is a real tough one. There's no reason for us to bomb Iran. It's unjustified, it's illegal, and it won't work. And it will open up. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't care about Israel. I mean, if Israel wants to commit suicide, Israel commits suicide. Iran is ready, I believe, to help Israel commit suicide. And I'm not a big fan of the Trump administration. But my God, I love my Marines and I love my airmen. I love my soldiers. I love my sailors. They took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, to defend America. It's not their fault that they're in the middle of this. I don't want any of them to suffer. I don't want any of them to die. And yet this president, who claims to be all about supporting the military, appears to be willing to put thousands, if not tens of thousands, of their lives at risk for nothing that benefits America. This is absurd in the extreme.
So, Scott, do you think that this was a head fake between the so-called falling out between Donald Trump and Elon Musk? Because we see he's still getting government contracts, and we see that in Ukraine they're using the Starlink satellite, and we see that they fomented unrest in not Azerbaijan, but the little area around Azerbaijan, and we see that they're supplied 40,000 terminals to the people in Iran. So was that a head fake for plausible deniability?
Excuse me. I don't think so. I think Elon Musk actually had a falling out with Donald Trump on a matter of principle. Just a second. Mm-hmm. Diet Coke pause. I think there was an honest falling out over Doge and the whole concept of government reforms and such. But I also think Elon Musk was put on notice that this $1 trillion, business empire he has, it's heavily dependent upon U.S. government funding, and that he needs to get on the right side of the ledger. And there's been a mending of ways. Elon Musk excuse me, is now back at Mar-a-Lago having lunches and dinners with the orange-faced narcissist, and and we see that Starlink is back in vogue, in a tool. I mean, the bottom line is Elon Musk didn't provide all those Starlink terminals to Iranian Mossad agents. Israel did, but Elon Musk gave them to Israel for that purpose. And they're programmed specially. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it. It's not like you're just getting commercially off the shelf Starlink terminals. I mean, these are things that are manipulated so that they do the job in the area, in the region that they want. I think what Elon Musk forgot, and what Israel, surprisingly, because even though I'm not a fan of Israel, I have a lot of respect for their professionalism when it comes to the intelligence business. They're pretty good at crossing their T's and dotting their I's. Russia has solved the Starlink problem a long time ago, and Russia has purpose-built jammers, and Russia has developed systems to detect Starlink terminals and identify them. The Ukrainians make extensive use of Starlink in guarding their drones, and there's a Russian unit called Rubicon. And Rubicon is very, very good at finding the Starlink terminal and killing the people near the Starlink terminal, their counter-drone stuff. And Russia provided all of this stuff to the Iranians. So look what happened. The Iranians shut down the internet for 3 days. They jammed all this stuff. Meanwhile, they were just sucking up. Why do you think they captured this stuff? Because they were listening in, they were tracking, they moved in, they swept everybody up. There's no resistance left. It's like that. Can you hear me now? No, they're all in prison, dude. They're all in prison. I think Elon Musk's hubris and this notion that Starlink is this wonderful architecture that empowers and all that. The thing is, there's people out there as smarter than Elon Musk. And they've solved the Starlink issue. Musk is arrogant. I mean, sorry, Elon, don't take me off of X, but you are arrogant. And sometimes, what's that old saying? Pride, you falleth before pride, or pride falleth before
pride comes right before the fall.
Right before the fall, something like that. Yeah, again, my brain's addled. I've been coughing too much, but and I think this is what's happened with Elon. And unfortunately, Elon exudes this aura of invincibility and such. And when he walks in the room, everybody's like, "Oh, King Elon! Oh my God, he's got $1 trillion." I mean, I'm impressed. $1 trillion, a lot of money. Good job, Elon. But it doesn't mean that you're invincible and that you don't make mistakes. And I think Starlink was actually turned out to be the Achilles heel of the Iranian revolutionary movement. That too much emphasis was placed on it, and it turned out to be their undoing.
So I know we don't have much time with you, Scott. So let's transition to what's going on in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. Where are we at, and do you think Ukraine can go for another year or so?
Oh, I'm not answering that question. If I've learned one thing in this entire Russian-Ukrainian thing is to stay the hell off the calendar. I have, when I go back and I reverse engineer my analysis, other than the opening days of the war, look, I mean, people are like, Scott Ritter, you said this. I said, yep, own it. So did the director of the CIA. So did the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So did the head of Defense Intelligence. So did everybody in the world. All the people saying, Scott Ritter said, you didn't say anything different, because everybody thought, the Ukrainians thought that Russia was going to roll over them. but Russia didn't go in a state of war. They did something called a special military operation that shocked us all, and we all had to adjust. So yeah, I own the fact that I thought Russia was going to roll over them in a week or two. Honest to God thought. So did the director of the CIA. That means all of his analysts thought the same thing. So did the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. That means the Defense Intelligence Agency thought the same thing. Everybody. So did the President of the United States, because he didn't give them the emergency assistance because there's no reason sending weapons to a defeated nation. But since that time, you remember when the United States provided the $48 billion, I said it was a game changer. It's a game changer. I said this changes everything. The game has changed. It's like having the New England Patriots on the football field, and suddenly they pull the scrub quarterback and they put Tom Brady in. It's a game-changing moment. Whatever you thought the game was, it's not. It's changed. It doesn't mean that Russia's going to lose. It just means the game has changed. And I was 100% correct. And since that time, my military analysis has been 100% correct. Well, 99.9. But the problem that comes is when I try to put dates on a calendar. Why? Because the Russian government's not putting dates on a calendar. Why should I get involved in an exercise that the Russian government's not involved in? It'd be one thing if Russia said, we're going to take Kiev by May Day. Then I could go, well, yes or no. But the mistake is to say, I think Russia's going to do this by this. Russia's not playing that game. Russia's simply playing the game of, we are going to wage a war of attrition, and we're going to wear the Ukrainians down until they can no longer fight, and then we're going to win this war. I agree with that. Now people would like to say, and when's that going to happen, Scott? I don't know. And I don't think the Russian government knows. I don't think any of them know, because that's not what they're supposed to be doing. They're just here to kill Ukrainians and destroy Ukrainian infrastructure and bring down the Ukrainian government. That's what they're doing. What that timeline is, I'm not touching that one, because it's impossible, because the Russians aren't working on a calendar. That's the lesson. Russia's not saying we have to do this by this time. We have to do it. Russia's saying we're going to get the job done. And so my mode now, because I'm just sick and tired of people going, you said this. Yes, I did. But and the other thing is it's an unfair analytical question, because in order to achieve a result, you have to have a certainty of knowledge of what price people are willing to pay. I don't know what price Russia is willing to pay. I know Russia has gone out of its way to avoid paying a very big price. There are economic realities. This isn't a simple problem of, how much can Russia produce, Russia, at the same time they're being sanctioned, same time they're transitioning to a wartime military industrial capacity, they're trying to maintain a peacetime economy that has standard, economic factors in there that, require a whole different mindset. I don't know what Vladimir Putin's doing to fight inflation. I don't know what Vladimir Putin's going to do to, talk about currency shortages. There are economic decisions that have to be made in that regard that have an impact on the resources available to Russia to do this. So the Russian engine isn't 12 cylinders banging away trying to put a car straight down. The Russian engine is like 400 cylinders operating everything. And I don't even think the Russian government knows what they just told the military, get her done. And the military is going, we're working on it, boss, working on it. So I'm that's a long way of saying, I don't know. I mean, okay, now I'm going to violate my rule. I don't think Ukraine survives this year. I don't. But they've proven me wrong in the past. It's a matter of how much resources are made available to Ukraine. Ukraine is on life support. There's nothing about Ukraine that, I don't know why they keep calling. What time is it? 2:09? No, I've got time. I promised you I'd give you my time, so they're going to have to wait. They're 2:15, and it's only 2:09. So sorry about them. But the thing is, I have a unique ringtone, and it even though I suppressed it, it's have you seen the movie Monty Python and the Search for Holy Grail?
No, I haven't seen that.
Well, it's a classic movie, but then they got a song about Brave Sir Robin. and that's my ringtone. And it's irritating. I might have to change it because it keeps going. And it's like, but Ukraine, and I've said this all along, that we can't just look at military collapse. All Ukrainian sources acknowledge there's no more reserves left. Zelensky threw them away in trying to do this thing in Kupiansk, and keeping brigades dug in around Pokrovsk that shouldn't. Now they're dead. There's no strategic reserves left. So they're in emergency mode trying to recruit men. And when I say recruit, I mean to beat them on the head, drag them into a car. But there's other factors as well. There's political factors. And we see Zelensky under tremendous political stress right now. We see corruption finally raising its head. And there's, we see the collapse. Yermak, the former advisor, is out, although he's not. He's advising in secret. They have a new guy in. You have parliament under investigation. Tymoshenko, the former prime minister of Ukraine, is under investigation for corruption. She brings with it her whole party. So we're looking at political collapse, literal political collapse. And with it comes societal collapse. And here's the thing about societal collapse: they don't have electricity or running water right now. They're in. So when all of these factors come into play, you're looking at the collapse of a nation, which is what's needed to get the surrender. It looks bad. Now, I'm not saying, I can't say that this is going to be sustained. I mean, again, Russia has to keep the pressure going on all three fronts. And Russia has issues like sanctions and stuff that they have to deal with. And then we don't know what kind of resources are going to be made available to the Ukrainian government over time. So it's hard to make an absolute thing because there's a lot of unknowns. But from a logical standpoint, we are looking at these three pillars that keep the Ukrainian nation up. All three are at serious risk right now. So I guess I will say I wouldn't put money on Ukrainian government lasting this year. Been wrong before.
Final question, because I know you got to get out of here. How will the EU sustain itself when it is waging a war against China economically and waging a war against Russia? And Russia used to provide 40% of its gas and 25% of its oil.
They're not. And you forget one other important thing. There's something that happened that's fascinating. The EU, I think yesterday, agreed on the passage of this Mercosur, this South American, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, Mercosur. I could be mispronouncing that word, but I've been known to do that too. But they signed this trade deal, and I'm like, really? Didn't you read the national security strategy document of the Trump administration? Aren't you aware of the fact that South America belongs to us? All of it? How dare you try to do trade with South America? The United States isn't going to let that happen. We've already said we're going to kick China out. So what is the EU going to think is going to happen? And here's the other question for the EU. When Donald Trump occupies Greenland, and he will, and NATO collapses, and it will, and the EU fractures, and it will, what do you think is going to happen then? I mean, the EU's dead in the water right now. It's the Titanic that hit the iceberg. It's still afloat. The band's up there playing. There's people in the dining room ordering dinner that they're never going to eat. People trying to go to sleep downstairs that are going to die soon. The Titanic is going to sink. The European Union is going to sink. So I don't hold out any hope for the European Union. I think it's literally on a highway to hell, and it's going to arrive at its destination sooner rather than later.
Man, thank you, Scott. I know you got another important. You fit me in this little area. I really appreciate this, man.
I'd love to give you more time, but it's crazy. And I'm like, Rashid's been sending me email after email after email after email. And I like Rashid, and I got to respond to Rashid. And I also know that if I say, let's wait until next week, my schedule's tight this week. If I wait till next week, we're screwed because something's going to come up, and I'm senile, and I'll forget about the email. And so I went, no, now's the time. Do it now, because that way at least we know that I got on for a little bit. But we'll do it again later.
And I always know when you don't get back to me when I hit you, I already know that you're handling some things, and eventually you'll get back with me. I don't even worry about that, Scott, because you've always done that. When I hit you up and you can't get at me at that time, you will hit me up. Hey, I missed this, and hey, how about we do this, this, and this? So I didn't even worry about this, Scott. I knew you would eventually.
I got to run though because they are in panic mode. Okay.
All right, I'll send you the video. Be safe. But everybody, listen again. Look at what you got. I got you. Like, this man fit me into his busy schedule because he had a lot of things going on. And he hit me up while we were doing the show. He said, "What about today? What about now?" I said, "How about 12 our time, my time, 12:45 my time?" He said, "Let's do it." So I fit him in for you guys because I want you guys to see. I told you I'm working. I'm doing this for you guys. And you got to join me tomorrow night, my time. It'll be, I think, 9:00 my time. And Bart Sabril, he'll be on the platform. We'll be doing it at nighttime, prime time for you guys. So I want you to join. We're going to be talking about the moon and everything. And we got some more guests coming on. I forget Professor. I forget. He's a nuclear physicist, a nuclear scientist, and he teaches at one of the esteemed colleges. He'll be on the platform soon. I forget his name. Peter. I forget. I'm sorry if I butchered his name, but he'll be on the platform. We got Gregory Manarino coming up. We got a lot of different people coming up, some old and some new. I'm doing the best that I can for you guys. I want you guys to hit the like button, subscribe, share everything with everybody, tell everybody about the platform. Also, check your notifications and check your subscriptions because they continue to unsubscribe the subscribers, keeping my my viewer count and my subscriptions low, falsely. But we're gonna keep bringing you the truth and always do right by others, not because there's some material gain or some accolades to be had, but do right by others because it's the right, the humane, and the godly thing to do. Because remember, when no one else is watching you, God Almighty is always watching you. As my late, great, beautiful, and esteemed mother would always say, God sits high on the throne of power, but he looks low at the actions of man. Know that I love each and every one of you who loves truth. But know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that the divine supreme being of freedom, justice, and equality has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true. But above all things, remember this, stay righteous. Hey, mama, your baby boy still loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. Thank you all. We're out of here. Peace.
Walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment.